It's 21 minutes to 9 o'clock. You're watching Morning News today on ENC. It's the last half hour of the Monday edition. Now let's go back to Durban and check in with our colleague reporter Dasen Thathiah. He's outside the Mangosuthu University of Technology, where students have been protesting since the early hours of this morning. Earlier we saw some tyres were set alight. Students unhappy with NSFAS funding, say they are shutting down the campus today. Dasen, since we last spoke to you, what has happened? Earlier we saw the police were standing across the road, a tyre was burning, rocks on the road, and the students were saying they are not retreating.
Well, Dan, that situation has changed somewhat. Now, in fact, if you just look behind me, you'll see that the fire department is now here. They've put off that fire that was there. Some of the rocks have been moved out of that road to ensure that the driveway is not actually blocked to the university. Police, however, still remain on the outside. I'm just moving out of the way while a car tries to get out. Police remain on the outside. I noticed that some of the officers that are here are negotiating and speaking to security at the university, trying to plot their next move. And I'll tell you why that is, Dan. It's because just behind us at the moment, and I'll just see if we can show you some of that, the students have moved into the campus now. And just before you came to us, I could hear some singing and chanting. I'm just taking you into the campus now to see if we can locate those students. There is a bit of a challenge for the police on the outside because until something warrants them coming in, they can't do so. They will remain on the roadside. And it's the security here at the campus that is now responsible for making sure that the students that are protesting inside actually do so peacefully.
Well, it looks like at the moment things are quiet and calm. Students walking about the campus as if it's normal. The group of protesters we saw in red and yellow T-shirts, as you said, have moved inside. Do you think they're planning a special gathering inside the campus?
Indeed, Dan, because this is by no means the end of the protest. In fact, while I'm speaking to you, I'm just bringing you closer to where this group has gathered. So one of the reasons why they've moved inside is because this is almost now a place of safety for them while they plan how they're going to take this protest forward. It also then allows them to gather without the threat of police or any police intervention or immediate intervention. One of the things that those student leaders said to us earlier is that they will not be stopping this protest anytime soon. And one of the reasons is because they feel that they haven't had an opportunity to engage with management. Now, speaking of management, we also haven't had an opportunity just yet. We've been trying to reach their communications department to try to get a response to find out how they plan to put an end to this protest and whether they will be calling a meeting with the SRC.
Now, we understand at the weekend, Dasen, that representatives or presidents of SRCs from across the country met with Naledi Pandor, the Minister of Higher Education, who has promised to address the issues raised by the students. Earlier, one of those student leaders there, who's just behind you there in a red T-shirt, told you that one of the issues is they want all students to be registered, and they want access to their academic records, and they want free education.
And that remains the top of mind for most of these students. It's not just at this institution, it's at many of the institutions around the province and the country. It's free education. In particular here today, it's the issues around NSFAS and whether the students would actually get the amount required by the university. You would have also heard that student talking about what they called the increment, an unfair increment that was raised. And they're talking about a 10% increase in fees. The other issue here is around the release of academic records. And now those are normally not released when students are in debt. Dan, this is really just almost a mirror image, really, in terms of the issues of what's taking place at DUT. Remember, that protest hasn't stopped either. They are now planning a march. In fact, as we speak, to the City Hall, and at the same time, their SRC is meeting with DUT management around number one, the issues of fees, but also around the issues of security after that student Mlungisi Madonsela was shot dead there about a week or so ago. And we'll have to wait to see as to what comes out of that meeting, because there was some kind of confusion with DUT saying that they'd reached an agreement with the students, but in fact the students saying that that was a bit short-sighted and that in fact had not actually happened.
Yeah, well, it seems that where you are at the Mangosuthu University of Technology, there will be no classes today, judging by the gathering that's happening now and the expectation of a meeting between the SRC there at Mangosuthu with management.
Certainly. In fact, that is something that students here have promised. They said that there will certainly be no classes, whether that meeting happens or not. They need to first know that all of their issues are ironed out, and that's when classes will actually resume. So it sounds like they will actually dictate as to when that timetable resumes. A similar situation at DUT as well. I promised there that classes would not resume. But what's interesting about this is that it's almost a second wave of protests for this year. You'll remember that a few weeks ago, this actually started up. There were those meetings that took place. There was the promise of classes resuming, but it seems like we've gone all the way back to the beginning, and now there's a deadlock once more.
Okay, thank you very much, Dasen Thathiah. We'll leave you there to continue monitoring that situation of this promised shutdown at the Mangosuthu University of Technology by the group of students who have already gathered inside, having made their way from outside the gates. Dasen Thathiah, our colleague on the ground at Mangosuthu University of Technology.